Hello and welcome to The Noise in Your Head. I'm your host, Josh Timko, and I hope you enjoyed last week's episode about Mount Erie's A Crow Looked at Me. I hope you gave it a shot. I know it's a very sad album. It's very tough to sit through. But if you did, let me know what you thought, if you haven't by now. This week we have a really interesting episode. Got a really interesting topic that we'll get to in a second. And to help me out talking through this episode is my good friend Ariana. Say hi to the people.
Hi, people.
Okay, good. So, Ariana, why don't you explain what we're going to be talking about today?
Okay, so...
What album are we talking about, and what artist are we talking about today?
All right, so we're going to be talking about Front Porch Step and his new album, I Never Loved Before I Found You. So I guess just to preface this, a couple years ago, he was accused of sexual harassment by numerous underage girls. He was performing on Warped Tour during the summer of 2015.
And when we say underage girls, we don't mean like they were in their teens. They were like 15, 16.
Yeah, they weren't yet.
Yeah, I want to make that clear because
still too young.
too young, but like not like
children.
Exactly.
But anyways.
Anyway.
So yeah, there were a lot of allegations against him. People posted like screenshots of text messages they had from him, and some of them were pretty aggressive and disgusting.
Yes, they were.
So again, there were a lot of accusations, but we don't really know how many of them were true. But I kind of found the situation very difficult to read through. And because of that, I kind of stopped, I 100% stopped listening to his music for quite some time. And then I noticed on Facebook that he kind of just like reemerged like a couple weeks ago with this new album. So we're kind of going to talk about that and let you know what we think.
Yeah, definitely. So, so in that period in between, he was, when the allegations came out, he was dropped from his record label, Pure Noise, and he kind of stepped away from the music scene a little bit, found Jesus, which
supposedly,
is
he found
very
Jesus.
evident on this new album.
Yeah.
So as much as this is going to be an album review, this is also just going to be a simple discussion about how we feel about the separation of art from artist, how we feel about sort of just this whole topic in general of separating the art from artist, and we're also going to be talking about sort of the religious aspect of this album, and we'll get into that with the whole review. So enough wasting time. Why don't we get into it?
Sure, sounds good.
Okay, so you mentioned that you stopped listening to Front Porch Step after hearing about all of this.
Yes, I did.
And you saw that this album came out, and you decided to give it a listen with fresh ears.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of his singles like popped up on Facebook, and I kind of just like wanted to give them a listen to see what they sounded like. I'm still kind of apprehensive, but I wanted to at least listen to it and.
Yeah, which is something that a lot of people have said that they wouldn't do. I know a couple people who heard that the new Front Porch Step album was out and just said, "No, not going to listen to that."
Yeah.
Just because they don't agree with his actions or whatever may have transpired.
Right.
So I want to talk about that because this idea of separating the art from the artist is something that's been around for a long time.
Right.
Recently we have. The most recent big example is Bill Cosby, allegedly raping 54 women.
Yeah,
did you hear about?
It was something like that. Yeah, I wasn't too up to date with that, but
the last I heard
something
was 54 women came forth.
Yeah.
But nothing was. Again, I don't think anything was proven unless Bill Cosby had a cold confession. Whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, we're not talking about Bill Cosby.
Exactly. But
enough talk about Bill Cosby.
Right, but we are talking about our feelings of whether or not we should let the actions of an artist outside of their art affect the way we view their art.
Yeah.
Which is something, it's something big. Because honestly, every artist has skeletons in their closet. Every artist has done, not every artist, but a lot of artists have done bad shit.
Yeah, this was just a big, I think, blow to the whole music scene with this kind of genre of music. So I don't know. Okay, let's.
So do you think you find it easy to separate in other cases? Do you find it easy to separate the art from the artist?
I mean, I'm trying to think of like another example that can be like compared to this. I know there was like this guy in this band, and they're was it like Lost Prophets or something, where like the lead singer was accused of. He was accused of something kind of similar to what. He was a pedophile. That's what it was.
Oh.
Yes. So they're no longer a band, I'm pretty sure. But when that kind of came out, but they were also kind of an older band, so like. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. But it's okay. Kind of irrelevant, so never mind.
Well, how did you feel about that, though?
I mean, I thought it was disgusting.
But then they stopped making music.
Yeah, like, I was never, like, a big fan of them in general, so I was kind of just like, ugh.
Gotcha.
But I don't know, with, like, Front Porch Step, like, I actually, like, enjoyed listening to his music, and then when this whole thing came out, it was, it was, I don't know. I had a lot of feelings, and... I was angry along with a bunch of other people as these allegations came out. But again, like, he said he's coming back and he's a new person, and this album is kind of showing that. So
gotcha. Yeah. I'm sort of the same way. I was upset to hear about all the allegations, and not the allegations, but about what may have happened. But I am very much. I've noticed I'm the type of person who separates personal life from the art, which is something that we'll get to. But it's hard to do on this album. It's hard to separate. Yeah. It's hard to separate the personal life from the art because it's very much infused within the art. Yeah. But most of the times when I see these things, I don't really have that many music examples because I'm mainly a movie guy. But so like I first think of like Woody Allen. A lot of people, I've heard people say that they'll never see a Woody Allen movie again because of I don't know if you know, but like
I heard like
his stepdaughter and
I kind of heard about that.
Yeah, and like back in the day, apparently he had some stuff with underage women also. Mm-hmm. That seems to be a big topic. I don't know. I don't know what it is about underage women.
Yeah.
But anyways. I'm the type of person who is very able to separate. So when I heard that the new Front Porch Step album was coming out, I was like, all right, I'm ready for this. I'm excited for this. And that wasn't what everyone was feeling.
Yeah. I think also, like, me being a woman, I think I was just a little bit more apprehensive to listen to it. But again, like, I was curious. I feel like a lot of other people on Facebook were probably curious to, like, listen to it. And, put everything aside, everything that happened to him, like, I enjoyed like listening to a couple of his singles, but kind of when I listened to the entire album, it was very like blatant, just like talking about his past and everything that happened and kind of leading to where he is now. So I feel like with this album, it's really tough to separate like him and the art that he creates, just because it's so obvious. Yeah,
definitely. All right, yeah. So with that, why don't we get into what we fully thought of the album?
Sure.
So on first listen, I remember both of us listening to this album, and we both kind of unanimously agreed that it was pretty good.
Yeah,
we liked it.
I think I was like half listening to it too, but like there were like a couple songs that I was like, oh, like, these are really good, like whatever. But then I think when I listened to it when I was like less distracted, it was. I don't know. I didn't have the same opinion, I guess, because I was just paying attention.
Yeah. So that's sort of where we're at both right now. Is we're kind of like this album is all right.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of problems with it. So I do want to talk about those problems that we do have with it. The first one being this sort of, you described it as like very woe is me aspect on a lot of his songs. And that's the thing. I wonder if this album would be better or worse had he not addressed the elephant in the room, had he not addressed his, this whole thing that happened.
I feel like this album, I guess like he was just very I guess, inspired by everything that happened to him, so I think it was easy for him to create this album.
Yeah.
Because if he made it about something completely different, I don't think it would have been, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
It's not an easy question to ask because, it's hypothetical. But, had he not, because he's talking about it pretty much throughout the entire album, in one way or another. Like,
except for maybe like one song.
Yeah,
but like even
exactly.
then, it's still kind of, you get little like hints of it.
Yeah, so I mean, this whole his feeling, it's a very self-deprecating album.
Yeah.
It's a very self-destructive album, but it's also this album focuses a lot on his newfound path towards Christianity and this sort of him apologizing to the Lord, apologizing to the world, and coming to terms with the fact that he is a bad guy. No, he's not a bad guy, but he did a bad thing, or he did bad things.
Yeah.
Which is noble of him to do, I guess, in some respect. But I do kind of feel like he beats it like a dead horse.
Yeah, and some of his songs he really just beats it like a dead horse. I forget which song it was, but there was like a line where he said like, I feel like a dog. Like, and I'm just like a God. I forgot what song that was. But
was that the title track? Maybe was that I Never Loved Before I Found You, or maybe
it might have been.
Maybe.
Yeah, but there were just a lot of like certain lines where I was like, oh, could you be like any more obvious?
Yeah,
like obviously people that know him as an artist and know his whole background with like everything that happened, like they're gonna know like exactly what he's talking about. So I think that kind of made it most difficult for me, just because I was like, all right, like I know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of keep talking about it, but.
Yeah. And here's the distinction that I want to make, because have you listened to his past album?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, he really has like one album, then he has an EP. But the last album, Aware, there is a lot of self-deprecation on that album too. A lot.
Yeah.
But like.
It's more relatable,
It is, yeah, because we don't have this whole story to put behind it.
Right.
But now that we do have this story to put behind it, it feels like that self-deprecation. This is gonna sound like kind of mean, and if Jake ever hears this, like I don't want him to really take this as negatively as it's gonna sound, but it kind of feels like he's kind of profiting off of this whole fiasco that happened.
No, I agree, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like this album was probably pretty easy for him to make, just because he had so much stuff going on in his head, and like everyone was just kind of giving him a really hard time about everything. So I think it was easy for him to just be like, I'm going to make an album about this, instead of just making it about something completely different. Yeah. He probably wouldn't have been able to do that if it didn't if this situation didn't happen.
Yeah.
Or
Part of what I loved about Aware, his last album, was this universal appeal to it. It was like I was listening to it, and there's a song on that album, the last song on that album, called "I Won't Say That I'm Okay," which is about the death of his grandma, and I like that is a fantastically written song. Because it's only until the last line that he mentions that it's about his grandma specifically.
Yeah.
But throughout the entire song, I mean, that's a song about grief. That's a song about, dealing with the death of a loved one, or just losing anyone in general. Whereas this album, I don't know. It has a focus. It certainly has a focus, but I don't really know if I agree that it should have had this focus.
Yeah, because I feel like it's a lot of him just kind of finding God, and like God kind of helping him become this new person. And like you even mentioned, like you think the title of the album is kind of based off of that whole.
Yeah, I think the title, I Never Loved Before I Found You, he's referring to God, I think, in that moment. That's the way that I think. Too. That's my theory, at least.
Yeah. With this, do you think it's so this album, you think it's hard to separate the artist from his art?
I think so, but that's not that's entirely his fault, I think.
No, I agree. I think it is, because I think like the first time I listened to it, I wasn't really paying as much attention, but then like the second time, I was literally like listening to the lyrics, and I was like, he's really just...
He's really hamming it up. It's really melodramatic and at a lot of times.
Yeah, but the one thing that I will give him is that it's completely different from his first album, which was more like acoustic based. But this one, it's like every single song just sounds completely different, which...
Right.
I mean, good on him, but like, you know, the lyrics, I think, if they were...
Yeah. Every song instrumentally sounds different.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But I feel like there's 10 songs on this album. Mm-hmm. And I feel like... If I had to sum this album up, he found 10 ways to say the same exact thing.
Yeah.
But like only slightly altered versions of the same exact thing. So listening to this album, it really kind of feels like a dead horse being beaten.
I agree.
For no reason. But this is a good turning point because we can start to talk about the things we do enjoy about this album. Because we said this album is good. We didn't say this album was bad. So
no, it's not. It's not bad, but I don't know. Yeah. Let's go on and talk about the things that you know.
So what was you liked that it was different from the last album?
Yeah, I thought like a lot of the songs were really catchy. There was, I mean, not like a lot of them. There were a couple of them. There was one that had like a really good groove to it.
Man, which one was that? Truth? I think it was Truth. I feel like Truth was a groovy one.
Yeah, I think it might have been Truth.
It was very soulful.
It was really soulful. And then you said that one kind of sounded a little bit like a country song.
Yeah, I think that was So Help Me God.
So Help Me God.
Yeah, it sort of has like this country hoedown twang to it.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it is the diversity throughout this entire album. Pretty much no one song sounds the same, which is good. I mean, I think all artists should kind of strive for that, unless the theme of the album is to
right. I mean, I think this is definitely like him, like you know, showing that he can like this is like a this is progression for him. So if he put out like another album that was just acoustic and he had like the same lyrics and the same like undertones of everything, I don't think I would have been able to you know, listen through it.
I'm glad this wasn't an all acoustic album.
Yeah.
Like Aware pretty much was.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy the instrumentals. I do feel, I forget which song it was. Maybe it was like Quick to Run, or maybe it was Truth. I sort of felt like I kind of felt like this throughout some of the album, was that the instrumentals sort of overpowered his...
Yeah, you did mention that.
Not his vocal delivery, but like sort of just what he was saying.
It was on Quick to Run, yeah.
It sort of just outshined. I was like, oh, those instrumentals are great.
Yeah, like the violins were cool, but it was a little bit... The lyrics were... Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about the lyrics, which...
Right.
Front Porch Step is a very lyric-heavy project, so you'd think the lyrics should be, you know, polished up before the instrumentals would be polished up. But it sort of felt like he put a lot of emphasis on the instrumentals in certain songs and not so much on the lyrics.
Yeah.
Which, if that's what he was going for, that's great. But if not, then he kind of failed.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do we feel about this whole new Christian Front Porch Step? Because he says the word God. We didn't count. We wanted to count, but a lot of times.
Yeah, if we counted, it would have taken a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I know like someone commented on his Facebook post about like the new album, and like they said they didn't like the new like Christian feel, but he was saying like, you know, I was a completely different person back then, and I feel like, you know, pretty much that like God helped me become this new person who's a lot happier, and, you know, not, I mean, I guess who kind of like hates who they used to be, and they're just trying to be a better person. So.
Yeah. And it's hard to argue against that.
I know. Like, I guess just because like I'm not really much of a religious person either.
Same here.
I don't know. It was like a lot for me, just because like, especially like if you kind of wanted to think about like the title of the album, just like talking about his, you know, newfound love for God. It's, you know, he has a lot of like religious undertones in the album, so
yes, definitely. It's hard to even call them undertones at some points too.
I guess, yeah, they're not even.
He's very blatant about it.
Yeah,
and,
very not low key.
I found it to be pretty distracting.
And at the stones that cracked my bones, I'm just glad that God stepped in. Glad that God stepped in.
Because I went into this album not really expecting a Christian album. I'm not really one to listen to Christian rock or Christian music.
Yeah.
Certainly there are albums where people touch upon, religion and God and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, it felt like too much to me.
I agree. Yeah, just a little bit too much. Like, I mean, hey, it's his music. He can write about whatever he wants,
exactly.
But it was a lot.
It was.
Yeah, I thought it was quite a lot. But.
Yeah. All right. What do you say we give our final thoughts?
Sure.
Which could take a while.
Could take a while.
We have a lot to unpack here.
Yeah. Overall, I liked the new sound. I think that was kind of the strongest part of his album. But I think he focused way too much on his past and stuff like that, and it wasn't relatable, just because it was more so like, this is an album about me and what I went through, and now I am this guy who found God and I love him and I'm a new person and I'm happy about it and things like that, which, I mean, like, if he feels that way, like, good for him. But me listening to it as an outsider, I wasn't really, I don't know, would I listen to it again? I don't know.
I feel the same way, and that's a good thing to think about is repeat listenability. Repeatability.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. However you want to call it, but this isn't really. I don't think this is an album I'll listen to again.
No, I don't think so. Like, I wanted to give him a shot.
Yeah.
But
I listened to this album almost primarily because I knew I wanted to talk about this on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I was a fan of the last album. I was a fan of Front Porch Step. I would say I kind of grew out of liking Front Porch Step. Or I don't really listen to a lot of his old songs anymore.
Yeah. No, I don't.
But I don't think I'll be listening to this again.
No.
I mean, maybe every now and then. But if I ever find Jesus, I mean, maybe I'll put this album on.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like I'm still just on the fence with him and everything. But I wanted to listen to it just because I think I was curious.
Yeah, and this isn't by any means saying that we wish this album didn't exist. I think that's something I want to distinguish apart.
Yeah, because I feel like it also helped him as a person to kind of create this album. So if he wants to do that and put it out for his fans to listen to, and he is getting a pretty good response on Facebook from certain people, of course there are still those that are,
and we would I mean I'll speak for myself, but I don't know about you, but I would never tell someone not to make a work of art ever. I don't think I would ever say that that shouldn't be made, or I might criticize it, but I think that if this is what he had to do and he seems very happy with it, and he seems like this is the thing he needed to do, if that's what he needed to do, then by all means, then I'm glad that he did it.
Yeah.
I don't really think it has a lot of qualities that I would ask for something that I would listen to repeatedly.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. And on that note,
okay,
that does it for our review of I Never Loved Before I Found You by Front Porch Step. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so we're at 24 minutes.
Okay, that's not bad.
Okay, we could do a couple minutes. I know I didn't ask you to prepare anything, but we could just talk about it right now.
Okay.
But have you been listening to anything in particular lately that you want to recommend to people?
I don't know. I mean, even though this isn't a new album, it's probably 2 years old. I've been really listening to Caspian's Dust and Disquiet. Because I listened to their album from 2012, Waking Season, on repeat, and then I guess I kind of just forgot about them for a little bit, and then I know I mentioned to you, I think the song just like came on one night, and I was like, oh yeah, this band. And then I was listening to them like at work last week or whatever, and like it's a great album, so you should check that out.
Anything else? You could say no. if you
I don't know.
No.
I'm really just like
Here.
floating around artists right now.
Yeah.
I'm really bad.
Here, I'll give one. I have so I've been listening to this one song on repeat a lot lately. It's called Miss Myth. Wow. Let me start that again. I've been listening to this one song recently on repeat called Misanthrope by Jealous of the Birds.
As a robin said, I've done nothing to make me proud. I rehearse conversations in the shower when I am home alone. No one has
Okay.
And this is a song that like it just not that I need calming down ever, but like it's very
Okay.
it's a song that if I ever do need calming down, I'll probably just put that one on because it's nice and slow. The lyrics are so pretty. There's a female singer and she has just a lovely voice.
Okay.
So if anyone out there does not know Jealous of the Birds, I recommend you go listen to them. They have an album called Parma Violets, which I haven't listened to the whole thing, but if it's as good as Misanthrope, I think it's pretty
Cool.
good.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
Did you find anything else?
Yeah. So there's this band called Miami Horror, and they recently lost one of their singers.
Lost?
I mean, not like he
died?
died, but he left the band. No,
Oh,
he
okay.
didn't. He didn't die. I'm sorry, I made it sound like that. So they kind of released this EP called The Shapes. And I really, really like it. I think it has like a really cool like groove to it. I still feel like it's kind of like a tough. I don't know, because like their album from like a couple years ago, All Possible Futures, like that was like an incredible album. And I think I'm just kind of getting used to the fact that there's kind of only like one singer now. But I still think it's really good. So
What was their name again?
Miami Horror.
Miami Horror.
Horror.
Miami Horrors. Got it.
That's what people always think I'm saying. But
Yeah.
anyways.
So another song that I've had on repeat lately is the song Magnolia by Gang of Youths.
Quit honking your horns. There's 5 other lanes, and I am king of them all. And faster than light, with my fists in the air. If my body's alive, then my soul's unaware.
I don't know if you know them. I believe they're
Sounds
from
really-
Australia. Don't quote me on that.
Okay, so is Miami Horror. They're also from
Hey,
Australia.
really? Then they should get together. But yeah, the song Magnolia, fucking,
Okay.
man. It's got like this great like progression to it. Starts out pretty slow and then just builds and builds and builds. And it's got a great chorus, kind of like a good storyline to it. It kind of just, it's about a guy who's sitting in traffic, I think. And it's about like the people behind him like honking at him, and he's just sort of like, hey man, I'm sitting here doing my thing.
Okay.
I think that's what it's about. I mean, I don't know, but it's a great song, and that one comes off of the album The Positions.
And what's that
So,
song called again?
It's called Magnolia.
Magnolia. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, I have it checked.
You do, you know it.
Okay, I'll have to listen to it.
All right. So so there you go, listeners. You have some recommendations. You get to decide whether you listen to Front Porch Step's new album.
Yeah.
If you do, and you want to let us know what you think about it, you can always find us on Facebook, Twitter. You could also find us at thetake-up-reel.com. If you don't know already, The Take Up Reel is our our brother show. If this is the sister show to the Take Up Reel, the Take Up Reel would be like our brother, or I guess it could be our sister.
Whatever, kind of.
Whatever. It's our sibling show.
Whatever gender you want them to have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's our sibling show.
Yeah.
So you can go to thetakeUpReel.com. There's a section there. There's a tab that says The Noise in Your Head. Where you can find all these episodes. And as usual, every week in the description of every episode, we have links to Bandcamp pages, Spotify pages, to all of the artists that we talk about here on the podcast. You can find us. We have a Twitter now. The Twitter is at Noise in Heads.
Noise in Heads.
Yeah, the Noise in Your Head.
Every other.
It was already taken.
It was already taken.
So at Noise in Heads is where you can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook by just searching The Noise in Your Head. We don't have an Instagram yet. Maybe never will. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you don't have
Who
to.
knows?
But
Ariana, do you have anything you want to say to the fans?
to the fans. Probably not. Just, I guess, take a listen to Front Porch Step's album if you'd like to, and just see what you think about it, because you know how we feel, so maybe you're feeling the same way, or you really like it. So,
Well said.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, that does it for this episode of the Take Up Reel. Have a good one.
Peace.
Well, this old train is broken down, but I'm glad it crumbled when it did. It's kinda hard to stay on track, running through the darkness of your sin. Someday you'll wake up and find you wish that you could rewind, take back mistakes that you made, mend all the hearts that you break, forget but don't forget to love those that want you dead. You're big